Hello friends, and welcome back to my kitchen. It's mid-March now and spring is upon us, and where I live it is a great season. It's maple syrup season, and so I have some fresh maple syrup here, and today I'm going to make a traditional sugar shack meal for my family. So if you don't know how pure maple syrup is made, here in our area of Canada, the sugar maple in the springtime when the sap is running can be tapped, and you can retrieve the sweet sap from it and boil it down until you get a nice syrup, which is the pure maple syrup. And it is so delicious. I grew up on a farm where we had a large sugar bush, and my dad would always make maple syrup while we were growing up. So it is something that I definitely enjoy, and my boys also enjoy. And also something you can do in our area is to go to commercial sugar shacks, or Cabane as they say in French, and you can get a traditional Cabane meal, which would be
pancakes, ham, eggs, sausages, baked beans, omelette, potatoes.
So I will be making a traditional meal for my boys at home to have for breakfast. Now I won't be making all of the things that you can get at a commercial sugar shack when you go out, because they do eat a few different things, like something called croton that they say in French, which is actually like a pork spread that's seasoned that you put on toast. I won't be making that. They do eat fried pork jowls, I think. So there's a lot of different things that are traditional for this area. So what I'll be making is baked beans, cornbread, pancakes, hash browns, and sausages. And I'll be using fresh maple syrup from our family farm. Okay, so first thing I did the day before is to soak my beans, because I'll be cooking them overnight because we're eating this for breakfast. So you need to soak your beans before cooking them. So in the morning, I put them in this large pot, covered them with water, and I'm letting them soak all day. So it's going to be soaking for about 10 to 11 hours before I put them in the slow cooker. And so the beans that I have are navy beans. And so later this evening, I will show you what I put in the slow cooker with them to cook them overnight. So I'm going to make my cornbread ahead of time. And so I have a recipe here given to me from my mom. And so it's the one I usually make at maple syrup time. And so I need 1 cup of flour, 3/4 of a cup of cornmeal, 2 tablespoons of sugar, and then 2.5 teaspoons of baking powder, and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. I need 1 cup of milk, an egg, and oh yes, 1/4 cup of oil, or I'm going to use 1/4 cup of melted butter. So this is also called Johnny cake or journey cake, because people would often make it to take on their journey with them. But anyhow, it's really easy to whip up. Just quickly mix up the dry ingredients. So my flour, my cornmeal, baking powder, the salt, I'll measure 1/2 teaspoon in my hand, and then 2 tablespoons of sugar. Just give that a little whisk to mix it up. And then it's going to be very easy to just put in the wet ingredients. Here's my 1/4 cup of melted butter. That easy. I'll check it around 25 minutes with a toothpick to see if it comes out clean. And yeah, I'll show you what it looks like when it's done. So here's the cornbread out of the oven. It's nicely brown. The toothpick came clean. It's firm to the touch. And so I just let it cool for a few minutes, and then I put it on this cooling rack. And I was so excited I had to just try it right away with a little bit of maple syrup, and it was delicious. I'm going to put my breakfast sausage links in the oven to bake instead of doing it on the stove in a pan. So I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees, and I will put the sausages in for 20 to 25 minutes until they're nicely browned. So the sausages are out of the oven. I put them on some paper towel just to absorb the excess grease, and I put them in the fridge and will reheat them in the morning. And now I'm going to prepare the baked beans so that they cook all night in the slow cooker. So the recipe calls for half a pound of salted pork, but I'm substituting with bacon. So I just cut up my bacon into strips, and I drained my navy beans. It's 4 cups of beans, and I'm adding water, 6 cups of water, and then 1 cup of maple syrup, fresh maple syrup, and then half a cup of ketchup. So I just guesstimated half a cup, and then a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and then a chopped onion, actually two onions chopped, and a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of pepper, and I stirred it well, and then I put it in my slow cooker on low to cook all night. And again that evening I wanted to do as much prep as I could, so I'm preparing the potatoes for the hash browns, so peeling them and then dicing them up. And so overnight I kept them in a bowl of cold water in the fridge, so that prevents them from turning brown. And then in the morning I seasoned them with salt and pepper and a bit of garlic powder and chili powder and olive oil, and baked them in the oven. And again, this is still the night before. I'm preparing my pancake mix, and so I've linked that below, or I wrote it out below. It's the pancake mix I've been making for many years now. And actually I just halved my recipe because we had so many other things to eat as well. So I knew the boys would be eating less pancakes. So I just prepped everything, so when I come down in the morning, it's all ready for me to mix up. Now I'm mixing the wet ingredients for the pancakes, so just the buttermilk and butter and egg, and then dumping in my dry ingredients that I'd prepped the evening before. And then I just put them out on my hot griddle here. I greased it with a little bit of butter, and they flipped over so nicely. They turned nice and brown. And there's my potatoes, my hash browns when they were done. They're delicious homemade hash browns. Actually, we'd already eaten a lot, and that was what was left over. And here are the baked beans. They were so delicious, nice and creamy tasting. And here's the final plate. We've got the sausages that I reheated, the pancakes, the cornbread, the hash browns, the beans, and I had some strawberries on the side. And of course, the wonderful maple syrup. And so it was a good, wholesome breakfast to start off the day. Alright everyone, that's it for today's video. Thank you for joining me today. If you like kitchen videos, please like and subscribe so you don't miss what's happening in Mary's kitchen. And until then, may God bless you with his love, joy, peace, and good health. Bye.